This video is not for children. Content warning for all you can think of. Hey, what's up folks, Jam Book Reviews here, and today I'll be reviewing The Princess of the Never-Ending Castle by Shintaro Kago. This is a limited edition Iroguro manga released by the Europe-based indie publisher Hollow Press. I bought this pocket edition from Floating World Comics and they did a great job with the shipping. By the time you see this video, this will be going out of print, so definitely check the Hollow Press website if you want to buy it. So, starting off the overview, as you can see, this is a not safe for work spot UV design softcover. Here is the spine and the back. The book has a stitched binding. As I said, this is a pocket edition, but it's larger than your standard size tankobon. On the inside, there are French flaps. The one at the front has a brief bio of the mangaka, and copyright information is at the back. The manga is printed on Fredrigoni paper, which is thick enough to not show any sign of bleed through. The book reads Western style, left to right. Now online, I've seen some fans complain about the quality of the translation of this manga, and upon reading it, I noticed the writing does have a stilted tone to it at times, but it wasn't difficult to read for the most part. But the way the story is told, I think, is also part of why it got that reaction. I'll talk about that more in the review, but if you're a stickler for that kind of thing, I'd advise you to check out the preview pages on the website before you order. So, that's the end of the overview, time for the review. Now, as everyone should know, Shintaro Kago is a master of Iroguro, which to me is basically turning shock value into an art form. Fashionable paranoia according to the critics. But this manga is unique in its oeuvre because it is considered his first long-form work. Short and episodic stories are usually the standard for Iroguro manga. Plot and character development are secondary to shock and suspense, but long-form stories require those elements to keep the reader engaged. So in this work, he kind of goes beyond the conventions of the genre. The story is based on the Honnoji incident in Japanese history, where the daimyo Oda Nobunaga was assassinated by Akechi Mitsuhide. But instead of letting it play out naturally, Kago adds his own unique twist to the story. I think he might have taken inspiration from either the Schrodinger's cat experiment or the concept of the multiverse, because what happens is, for some reason, at the assassination there is a split in reality, one where Nobunaga lives, another where he dies, and Kago uses his unique paneling to tell both stories at the same time. We get to see how the different rulers would affect the kingdom within the castle walls. But the main character of the story is actually Nobunaga's wife, Princess No, who, unlike her husband, not much is known about historically, so Kago was able to create her character in a sense. She basically wants to get revenge on Mitsuhide, and I like how Kago created an atmosphere of constant danger around her. Most of the other characters are there to either aid or hinder the main characters. Their character development is like, on one page they don't agree with something, then 2 pages later they're all for it. So the manga still fell into some of the trappings of short-form storytelling. The story is told in a beat-by-beat fashion. This happened, then that happened, then another thing happened. The narrator's voice is very strong throughout the manga. Borderline excessive because Kago is a good visual storyteller, so many of the caption boxes were unnecessary in my opinion. Unlike how there is an overuse of caption boxes, there's an underuse of sound effects, which I think could have enhanced certain scenes. The dialogue, as I said in the overview, is a bit stilted, and at some points felt like it needed more expressiveness. The artwork, of course, is top-notch, some of the best I've seen. You get all of what Kago is known for: grotesque, sometimes violent, sometimes pornographic imagery, experimentation with paneling, complex designs, and a somewhat new element, cinematic fight scenes. It's a samurai story, so the combat is swift and deadly, and the panel transitions are very effective in conveying this. Speaking of samurai, some of the character designs remind me of certain old school Japanese actors like the ones in the Seven Samurai movie, so that's a possible homage in the manga. But interestingly, with the artwork, I think Kago toned down the bizarreness compared to some of his other works. I think those scenes are more spaced out to suit the longer format and not take away from the story. I won't spoil the ending, but I didn't really like it. It felt a bit rushed. I felt like he sidelined some of the characters to get to the big finale. But I did see a post online which implies that he might be continuing the story, so that might have been on purpose. Overall, this was a great read. I got to experience Kago not only as artist but as a storyteller. It reminded me of Junji Ito's Uzumaki. Not in terms of content, but by the way in which Kago took a somewhat simple concept and artistically expanded upon it. There was an underlying theme of anti-authoritarianism in the story, but I don't think it was fully developed. Hopefully, it will be explored more in later volumes. So yeah, I recommend this book for new and old readers of this great mangaka. Thanks for listening. Until next time.